a guy who had a position in the last Trump White House and isn't going to this time, although I'm sure he'll be on speed dial. Larry Kudlow, and whoever the fuck this guy is. So this is Kudlow. Growth solves deficits and debt. This is the story that they've been telling themselves, and that we're going to Republicans have been saying this for a long time. We can cut taxes and all that kind of stuff because that's going to spur growth, and we're going to have more revenue from the growth, and that will pay down the debt. So we have more people in the pool of money that coming in, even though it's spread out more evenly. You take the taxes off the top, and you make everybody pay some taxes, and then it grows the businesses, and they put that back into their, and they don't. They just do stock buybacks and move their money overseas. But yeah, this is the story. Here we go. He looks very happy.
All right, folks, high growth, low inflation, and Donald Trump's golden age.
This is the term they're going to be using into it. Just think it, believe it, feel it.
That's why the stock market had a record-breaking welcome mat yesterday. 1,500 points on the Dow. I believe it's one of the biggest single-day gains on record. And all that is...
No, it isn't. And also, I mean, and one of them out of what? 1 out of 100? And, dude, you're fucking drunk. Hammered. And this is not hangover tired. This is fucking drunk.
This is the subject of the riff.
This is the subject of the riff. Riffs. Yeah, right. What is it again?
Gains on record. And all that is the subject of the riff.
And the subject of the riff.
So the day after the election, stocks went up 1,500 points, one of its best days in history. Kind of like saying, welcome home, President Trump. We are glad you're back. And the market...
What was the market doing the whole time Biden was in there, you weirdo?
The market is surely welcoming Mr. Trump's tax cut plans, along with his deregulation rollback of the $2 trillion of new regs put on by the Biden-Harris administration.
Yes, $2 trillion in new regs. What? Name one. What are you talking about? You can't drop a number like 2 trillion and not give me how the fuck a regulation costs you anywhere near that. Any of them. A stack of them. Give me fucking one. What are you talking about?
And included in Mr. Trump's deregulation plan will be permitting reform.
So we're going to drill under preschools.
To not only unlock the fossil fuel spigots and produce more liquid gold, but also open the door to pipelines and fracking and drilling in Alaska, New Mexico, the Gulf of Mexico, too. Plus...
Yeah, thank God we don't have those ugly fucking windmills everywhere, those big white monstrosities that look like something from a space age film, How the Dutch Ruled the World. And we can have oil rigs, good old sexy oil rigs everywhere. And I think nothing works better than a good old-fashioned pipeline running right over our aquifers, where all of our drinking water comes from, which will also be under-regulated. Congratulations.
Reopening LNG exports, new permitting LNG modernization and terminals.
Sorry, what was the regulation? Good Lord. What was the regulation that stopped the modernization of natural gas? I'm really serious. Please, does anybody fucking know? Because I have a tendency, I've looked up some of these things because we've dealt with this whole regulation bullshit for years now. I can't find it. They just seem to okay, there's a natural, you know how the coast of California, come here. Come here, everybody. Come here. You two maggots, get in here. Okay. You know how the coast of California is always having mudslides and shit like that because the tectonic plate's working its way, and over the years and centuries and stuff, it starts moving like that because that's just how the fucking ground works. And this ground falls into the water, and it just falls into the water, just like, almost like a longer term version of Arctic ice as it thaws, right? Where it breaks off and falls and breaks off. You know how that works? Okay. All right. There is a similar sort of situation in regulations. Regulations become out of date and have to be updated all the time. And in a lot of areas, especially in the computer and technical sector and anything that requires any advanced technology or stuff moving forward, they will naturally get rid of a fucking regulation that has nothing to do with anything. Right? They'll just, in committee and stuff, they go, okay, we're zeroing that one out, and it'll be these 3 regulations that are no longer germane, nobody uses this kind of gear anymore, will be replaced with a line that works like this. So 3 for 1, but it's the same situation, and it covers the leakage on this old tech was bad. Now we've got better tech, so therefore we don't need the same regulations because they don't apply. It's different materials, it's different building standards, all that shit. Okay, yeah. So that happens all the time. Regulations are constantly being tossed out and refined. Every president signs all fucking day long. It's one of the things when you see the president just sitting there fucking doing this at a desk, or these pictures of their sleeves are all rolled up. It's because they spend a good chunk of their day doing these like cursory regulatory changes. We move this thing and we've got new regulations about seawater drifting in, and that the amount of saline in the water and it creates is lower, so it's eroding the areas. The salt is, so we've got to change the content of concrete so that it doesn't fall apart. And so that's where we're redlining these 3, and then you have to do a new one that makes sure it does. Okay, all fucking day long. It's one of the parts that Trump blew off. As a matter of fact, they fucking rubber stamped. I wouldn't doubt it if Dan Scavino actually signed off on the deregulations, because it's just a bunch of perfunctory shit you have to do as president. It's adult shit. It's boring. Nobody talks about it, except I got rid of more than ever. No, it didn't. You just looked at the pile of paper and went, other people don't have to do this, because Trump's a lazy fuck. That's what that is. I don't want to hear this shit about he got rid of more regulations. No, he didn't. You're constantly refining regulations, and you put a new one on that takes the place of 3, because that's how modernization works. And the only time you add regulations is when a whole new technology like AI comes online and people are like, what the fuck do we do with this new thing? But in this case, AI is happening too fast and nobody can catch up. It's just dumb. And by the way, Larry Kudlow knows this. He's just selling the bullshit.
Stock market welcome mat for Mr. Trump is also a vote of confidence that big government socialism is dead.
Dude, then what the fuck was it doing the last 3 years?
Radical woke and climate policies are dead.
They're dead. Radical woke and climate policies. Stop making me hire black ladies everywhere. I'm sick of it. Why do I need 2 black ladies on my board? I don't even. They talk really loud.
Affirmative action, DEI policy.
What'd I tell you? Jesus Christ. What'd I tell you? That's all that is. I don't have to work with black people. I don't want to. Shit.
He's dead. All those left-wing obsessions were affecting both large and small businesses and their
businesses. They are. All large and small businesses were having a difficult time.
Profits. They were affecting construction projects, broadband projects, even advanced technology companies, whether they're producing chips or quantum computing or
whether they producing chips. What are you turning into, James Carville?
AI. Because you couldn't build anything unless you met various woke and DEI government mandates.
Government mandates? Wait a minute. Are you a DEI hire?
Well, think about the SEC spewing out insane climate reporting mandates for all businesses and their customers. It's like the securities.
Yeah. Remember the last time you went out to eat, and after they brought the bill, they made everybody fill out this like carbon footprint paperwork? The fuck are you talking about?
Regulators
and their customers.
Decided
Jesus.
They really were the Weather Channel. Now, there's a good chance there'll be some bank deregulation, such as perhaps lower capital standards or at least no higher capital requirements for an industry which is mostly overcapitalized right now anyway.
That's right. And let me tell you something. Nothing went wrong when we lowered the cap standards leading up to 2008. In the second term of the Bush administration, one of the coolest thing we did was while Dick Cheney was taking a nap and George was avoiding cows on his ranch, we all went into the basement and we lowered the cap standards, how much banks, how much money they have to have on hand in case something happens. That worked out great.
And you have the Elon Musk phenomenon. You know he's the smartest guy on the planet.
No, he is not.
And lately he's become a political celebrity rock star, jumping full time and to help Mr. Trump get reelected.
And to help.
Elon's already working with the Trump Transition Committee to pull out roughly $2 trillion of wasteful and unnecessary federal spending.
Right, because the government should be a profit-making industry and not something that guarantees the health, safety, and well-being of Americans.
In order to slam the brakes on budget deficit spending and debt creation.
Let me guess, it's going to start with supporting anything that Russia doesn't like.
Crazy programs like the COVID Act of 2021, the various chips and infrastructure bailout bills, the misnamed inflation.
Sorry. One moment. The fuck? Hi, chat room. What he means by the COVID Act, I guess, is the American Rescue Plan. Yes? I suppose. Hi, chat room, real quick. Man.
Reduction Act, all sponsored by Democrats and passed with Kamala's tie-breaking vote. All that stuff.
Yep, and that's going to stay right where it is.
Stuff should be subject to a thorough-going audit. And
have fun, motherfucker. You know what you're going to find? Let me tell you what you're going to find. You're going to find that an outsized amount of that money went to red states. That's what you're going to find. Because Biden, and I think rightly so, was trying to help the hardest hit and worst off people in the United States, and they're all in red states. So pull it. Pull those parts. Pull the parts that have the worst return on those investments. Because let me tell you where they're all going to be. Alabama, Louisiana, Georgia, Mississippi, Arkansas, Missouri. And you get those senators to go back to their state and go, look, we're just doing our part to lower the deficit. It's Elon's world and we're all just living in it. Meanwhile,
many of those programs have been authorized by the Democratic Congress.
Now, somebody was saying Mike Johnson said the CHIPS Act is on the table. It is not. He misheard it, and there's no fucking way they get rid of it. There's too many red districts that benefit from it. Arizona alone, like, he's not going to do it. He's going to fuck. He's not only is Trump not going to rescind the CHIPS Act, he'll be at the fucking ribbon cutting of the fabs that they build in these places and going, this is the new techno America. Elon is giving me a tour and showing me how all these bing bong shoom, how it all works. And then I'm going to sit in my chair and then, yes, I'm golfing. Like that, I guarantee it.
But the money hadn't even been spent. In part because the government is so inept, and in part because of the crazy DEI regulations. Anyway.
Yeah, right. So let me get this straight. Rural broadband, which has to be like, you got to find licensing people, they got to pass these things, they got to put bids in all these red states. The only reason that shit's not going in is not because it's really fucking difficult to get broadband out in the fucking sticks. It's because you have to hire more like Hispanic ladies who are lesbians with blue hair. Is that what it is? That's what you think? You have to check some boxes? Get the fuck out of here.
Unspent funds should be rescinded. Now it put a big clamp on federal spending.
Yeah, well, no, it wouldn't, because it hadn't been spent yet, you dumb motherfucker. How do you get a refund on money ain't spent yet? What are you doing? The ever-loving fuck. We just rescind all that unspent money to help with the spending. Oh, fuck. Do you hear this, asshole? Fuck me.
Meanwhile, the extended business tax cuts, and let's not forget a lower 15% corporate tax rate for domestic products. Well, that's going to increase economic
and real estate, mainly.
Economic growth and job creation.
Yeah, that's totally. Yep, 15%. It's gonna 10x job growth, especially in the tech sectors that Elon is working in, where he's trying to eliminate every human in the chain he can.
Which will move the GDP needle to maybe 3 to 4%.
Yeah, and it won't involve any people. But yeah, productivity goes through the roof, and so does unemployment. It'll be the greatest parallel in history.
And that will be producing plenty of additional revenues from folks who have new incentives to work and invest. And all
work where? Especially in these red states where he's cutting the federal workforce, so they will be competing against, I guess, everybody who used to work for the federal government in every state. They're going to cut, 15% of the workforce. What do you think? What's the layoff rate? He's basically, Elon's going to make cut suggestions like he did with fucking Twitter. It's going to run on a skeleton crew. Everything can be done with AI. And it's going to be Grok. Because what would be wrong with pouring all of our government secrets into his AI? Brilliant.
All that will lower the budget deficits even more.
No, it won't. Because you're going to have millions of people out of work. And what are those people going to do? Besides, I suppose, rise up.
Growth solves deficits and debt.
Wouldn't it depend on what that growth was and where it happened and who it benefited?
Some on Wall Street continue to worry about how tariffs will be inflationary. But look, Mr. Trump in his first term slammed China with huge tariffs on the indictment of unfair trading practices and intellectual property theft. Yeah.
He did like 3 things. He didn't do a blanket one on every fucking thing, you weirdo.
There was virtually no inflation.
You know why there was virtually no inflation? Because we all paid it in taxes, you dumb motherfucker. He used taxpayer money to pay the farmers. Good Lord.
Let me get this right. In his first term, Mr. Trump slashed taxes, curbed regulations, and protected America from unfair trading practices.
But he couldn't get a piece of fucking legislation like the CHIPS Act passed? Maybe he just doesn't give a fuck. Also, no.
And the overall consumer price index increased only 7% for 4 years. That was...
Yeah. What happened in that 4th year, Lair?
1.4% at an annual rate. Biden-Harris, on the other hand, it did keep the Trump tariffs in place, but
right. And apparently what did they do? Stop working? Oh wait, the whole world fucking shut down, and they had to clean it up.
They spent their way into Kingdom Come.
Okay, first of all, Trump added a third to a third of our national debt during his time in office, before fucking COVID. Eat shit. Secondly, the cost of rebuilding the roof on your house is not just after a hurricane or a tornado, is not just that singular cost. It's also the elimination of the cost of not having a fucking roof the next time it rains.
Produced record deficits and debt. They opened the floodgates to illegal immigration.
No, they did not. He did. Title 42.
And their CPI increased 21%, or roughly 6% at an annual rate.
Yeah. Wait till he starts bringing those products home, kids.
So I ask you, folks, who's the inflationist?
You about to find out, dum-dum.
And as a final Trump policy, again and again, he repeats that he wants the dollar to remain the world's reserve currency.
Yeah, and?
He's basically backing King Dollar. And that can never be inflationary.
Yes, it can. You can. That's one of the reasons where it's inflationary right now. The dollar's worth more than a dollar. That's inflated. Like, okay. The dollar is usually worth, if you in your sweet spot, $1 to $1.02. Because the printing of it and the releasing of the new funds and that 2%, that's what it takes to loan it out and all that kind of stuff. So it keeps ticking up, and the $1 parts of it, it incorporates that 2%, and then it incorporates that 2%, and that's how it climbs in its value over time. He knows this in theory. I don't know if he's forgotten it or if it's just the fucking gin. But if it hit, the only way he's going to bring it down is if the dollar is worth less than $1. He's going to have to bring it. That's what zero interest rates or below will give you.
That's why the stock market put out a record-breaking welcome mat for Mr. Trump.
It pled out. It did. It pled it out.
The day after his landslide election. All right, folks. Hi.
After the landslide election. Fucking hell. In relation to the euro. Yes, it's the dollar index. It's $1.05. The dollar is dead in 2025. It isn't. He can't do anything about it. And Jerome Powell's not going to let him fuck with it. That's why Jerome Powell said he's not going to step down. It won't fucking matter. It's just like he's talking out of his ass. This is another Fox. Hold on. Where is this? Who is this? Bartiromo. Okay, hold on one second. Let me bring you in. Yeah. How much vodka does he have? I have no fucking idea. Good Lord. What a wreck.